What's going on YouTube? Taylor Prentice back here with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down a video of Ed Bravado talking about the term streetwear on Instagram. I thought it was a really interesting video. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get right on into it.
That's the way I look at it. And it's like streetwear is like, it's so degrading because it's what? They put streetwear.
Like as a term, you mean? Like
yeah,
to say like when people call Besides War a streetwear brand, like
it's just saying you're a black band, you're an urban band. It's like the urban contemporary category at the Grammys.
Sure.
Yeah. It's just saying
So I do think clothing is very similar to music in the terms that it's kind of genreless. Where like somebody may consider something streetwear, whereas someone else would consider it designer. There's a lot of blurry lines. Things are definitely not easily defined in music or in clothing. Like there's times where someone will categorize a rapper as like a certain subgenre of a type of rapper, and I'll be like, I would not consider him that at all. Like if you hear someone that's like a plug artist, that has like a certain connotation, so you expect someone to have that certain type of sound, and that happens with fashion. And like I said, the lines get kind of blurry, so it can be kind of confusing to use these terms to describe people. A lot of times, like when I talk about Ed Bravado, I would say he's like a designer streetwear type of guy. So what I mean by that is he's doing what I would consider streetwear, which literally pretty much everything besides formal wear to me is streetwear, because it's like, what do you wear on the street? Whereas like to some people, streetwear is literally just like brands like Supreme, Palace, Diamond, Cookies, stuff like that. I think you can have designer streetwear, and what I mean by that is brands like Ed Bravado, who appeal to like people in the streets, but are doing it on a level that is way more artful and is just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like a completely different level. The time and effort, like I'll just scroll down so you guys can see some of his pieces if you aren't familiar with his work. But just looking at all these, it's like a streetwear, like a normal streetwear brand. When you think of just prints on blanks, they don't really create any of their own silhouettes. It's like they're not doing what he's doing. He is a full-blown designer. This is like immaculate art.
This is for black people. No, it's not. Like white people wear this too.
Literally, I'm very white, as you guys can see, and I've spent more money on his clothes than anyone else in my wardrobe. He's definitely my favorite designer that's alive. Virgil might be my favorite designer of all time, but I would say him and Virgil are kind of in the same boat, where they're doing very luxurious, nice pieces, very creative, unique. These pieces take a lot of time to make and a lot of time to design. They are contemporary art, which he'll get into here in a second, but to just discredit it and call it just like streetwear, like I know a lot of people would consider Off-White a streetwear brand, but when you think of a brand like Off-White versus a brand like Diamond or like Pink Dolphin, like that should not even be a comparison. And that's not to disrespect Diamond or Pink Dolphin or what those guys have done with those brands, but it's just two different playing fields. There's a reason why Ed Bravado's clothes, or Who Decides War's clothes, whatever, is the prices that they are, because they take the time and the design, and he has knowledge that most of these streetwear people do not. If you're out here and you have a streetwear brand and you're just printing on blanks, that's like the very lowest level of streetwear. And like I said, I kind of do consider literally everything streetwear unless it's like formal wear. So that's where I get kind of screwed up with all this. But yeah, I do always, when I talk about someone like him or a brand like Rude, like some of these brands, you just have to call them designer streetwear, because in my opinion, if you don't throw the designer in there and you just call it streetwear, it is just kind of disrespectful.
Yeah, whatever. And it's just like you can't really explain it because you're not from it, so you just dismiss it as streetwear, or as urban. But in actuality, this is just contemporary art, so why not just call it that? And I think that's
drop the urban, stick with the contemporary.
Yeah,
we're all good.
Been like my struggle and our struggle, because like our white counterparts they make streetwear, but they don't call it that.
Bro, this point sums it all up so well, because it's like, all right, when you think of like Hedy Slimane or Raph Simmons or Kim Jones, or I don't know, that those three are good, but do you guys think like those are streetwear designers? Most people would not, even though like when you go back and look at their clothes that they've made, a lot of them are pretty much just streetwear, and they are obviously designer streetwear. Like I was talking about, there is a different level with those kinds of guys as well, but it is weird how someone would call Ed Bravado just like a streetwear guy, and then would call Raph Simmons like some creative masterpiece designer or whatever, when both of them in actuality are creating timeless pieces that just most people aren't able to create like on the same level. So
they're like heralded as like great artists.
Who are these?
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't blame him.
That's the way I look at it. And it's like streetwear is like, it's so degrading because.
So yeah, that's pretty much my opinion on it. I completely agree with him, and I definitely see where he's coming from. But yeah, to categorize him in the same vein as a brand that you'd see in like a PacSun that is still considered streetwear, I guess, is just crazy. Maybe I will start rephrasing myself, and instead of calling it designer streetwear, I will say things like contemporary. I don't know. It feels weird, but I'm gonna find a phrase for it, I think. I definitely respect what he was saying. And yeah, like I said, he's one of my favorite designers, so maybe I'm being a little bit biased here, but I'm trying to not dick ride. I'm just being completely honest about how I feel. And I do think he made a lot of super valid points. And yeah, I hope that we continue to see black designers do super well in this high level of clothing. Like I said, brands like him, and then you have like Rude with Rurigi. Obviously, Virgil was an amazing designer, but it seems like I don't know, this might sound crazy, but it seems like a lot of the designers out there right now that are starting to get stuff popping are black. There's not a whole lot of white designers I see personally doing a lot of exciting stuff. But anyways, it doesn't really matter about race, but if people are being disrespected because of their race, or just seen in a certain light because of their race, it does make things a little bit weird, and that shouldn't happen in fashion. It should just be all about the clothing. And obviously, if you take a look at this guy's clothing, it is on the highest level possible. So that's my take on it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I did do a lot of ranting, but anyways, yeah, we will see you next time. I am trying to make a lot more evergreen content that will kind of perform better over time. I obviously do the drop list videos and stuff too, but hopefully you guys enjoy these. But anyways, we'll see you next time. Have a good one.